All right. Well, I just want to say that I enjoyed reading all of your music introductions, seeing your Google slides, and for those who sent in a project, it was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. Now, it's time to get down to business. Business. Make sure I say that correctly. Okay, so what we're going to start doing, we're going to really get into this year talking about rhythm and melody. But before we can do that, there are some music basics that we absolutely need to understand before we can move forward. So for these next couple of weeks, we're going to be really focusing on these music basics. All right? All right, let's get to it. Is there anybody who can name this object? I'll wait. Oh, no? Oh, okay. Well, if you did, great. If not, this, what you see here, is called, drum roll, the music staff. Now you're like, Mr. Stokes. Really? Yes, I know, I know. But I did this because you really have to understand how important the music staff is. The music staff is where we place all of the notes. We're going to talk about that too. All of the notes that we are going to play in a song, we put them on this staff, okay? So when you see this object in music, it is called the music staff. Say it with me. Music staff. No, no, I don't believe that. Let's try it again. Music staff. No, no, I'm gonna try one more time, okay? Music staff. All right, I'll accept that one, just for now. Okay, few things you gotta know about the music staff. 5 lines, 4 spaces. I'm gonna say that again. 5 lines, 4 spaces. I think I want to say it one more time. 5 lines, 4 spaces. Let's count them. Starting from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are your 5 lines. We count the spaces, which is the area in between those lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So, very important. This will never, ever, ever change in your lifetime or in mine or anybody else who's going to appear 100, 200, 300 years as we go on. Okay? I'm telling you, it's never going to change. And if it does, it's not going to happen now. It will always be 5 lines and 4 spaces. Okay? So when you see this object, I don't want you to burn this into your brain right now. It will always be the music staff. Very good. So as I said, each staff will always have 5 lines and 4 spaces. Okay? Next, we're going to talk about in music. We're all in 5th grade. You should all know your alphabet. You know how I know? Because last week and a week before that, I saw you guys reading. In your classes, I saw you reading. So that means you've got to know some of these letters. So in music, we use the first seven letters of the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But when we get to G, what do? I'm going to tell you. You just go back to A and you start again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then we're going to go right back and do it again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Ooh, yeah. All right. So, based on the staff that we're using, those letters will be arranged in such an order. We'll talk about that order later on. If you want to look at the slide, this gives you one of the orders. letters, okay? But we're going to really just focus on just understanding that there are 7 letters for the musical alphabet. So I never want to see an I. I don't ever want to see an O. I don't want to see a P. And I don't want to see a J, even though J is my favorite letter, but I don't want to see no J's on that staff. A through G, that's it. All right. Accidentals. I know I'm going through a lot. So if any of this stuff starts to become too much for you, take your time, come back and watch the video. This video is here forever, never, never, never. It's not going anywhere. So you can watch it as many times as you like. So, accidentals. An accidental is a note of a pitch that is not indicated within the key signature. You're like, oh, I don't know what that means, Mr. Stokes. Okay, so I'm going to help you. And these arrows are going to help you. So, this is called a sharp. No, it's not a hashtag. No. No. It's not a hashtag. It's a sharp. In music, we call it a sharp. What a sharp does is it raises a note up a half step. We're going to talk later about half steps, whole steps, all of that. But just know that if I were to put this next to a note, it's going to make that pitch go a little higher like this. Just a little bit. This one that looks like a fancy lowercase b is called a flat. It lowers the note down a half step. Okay? So where this one makes the pitch go higher, the flat makes the pitch go lower. Okay? And the last one is called a natural, which cancels a prior sharp or flat within the key of or measure. So what that means is, let's say I had a C sharp, okay? And I was playing C sharps all through the music. And then I see this next to that C. You know what that tells me? It says, don't play C sharp, play regular C, okay? We'll talk more about that in depth later as it becomes more relevant. I just want you guys to get familiar with the signs and the names, because once you know the signs and the names, the understanding and the explanation will be easier to get. Okay, music notes. Last thing we're going to talk about today. Music notes, a unit of measurement that indicates the duration, length, or sound in time. Ooh, I messed that up. Don't be mad at me. I make mistakes too, okay? So what does that mean? So we've all seen these. These are all musical notes, okay? What the note does is it tells us how long or how short we need to play something, okay? So depending on the note, will determine, do I need to sing la, that long, or sing la, 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 la? The note will tell you that, okay? So we will be doing a lot with note values coming up very soon. Okay, once we get through these basics, we're going straight into rhythm, which has everything to do with these note values. Okay, but when you see something like this, I want you to just say that's a music note. That's all I want right now. We're going to build on that. Okay, music notes. And here's a preview of how music notes are broken down. These are probably the only 5 you will ever see if you play music. Okay, are there more? Yes. Am I going to talk about them? No, you don't need to know about them, okay? You just need to know about these 5 right here, okay? Don't worry about this as much. We will talk about this later, okay? I just want you to look at each of these notes and just say, hey, that's a note. That's all I want you to do right now, okay? So, your assignment. What you are going to do is you are going to go and you're going to fill out that first Music Basics Google form on your assignment page, okay? Get that finished. If you want some more, then I do have links to additional quizzes that you can do to get some more practice on familiarizing yourself with everything that I talked about today, okay? All right. If you got any questions, you can always see me or shoot me an email during our during our Zoom link time. You can ask me any of the questions about any of this stuff, and I'll elaborate as best I can. Once again, all I want you guys to do is just be able to look at it and say, I know what that is. You don't have to know what it does yet. We'll get there. Just know what it is. That's all you got to do. All right? All right. Go get to work now. Yeah.
All musical notation is written on a collection of lines and spaces called a staff. Each of the 5 lines and 4 spaces represent a different letter name or note depending upon which clef is found at the beginning of the staff. The 2 most commonly used clefs are the treble clef and the bass clef. As its name would suggest, the treble clef is home to notes of higher pitch frequencies than the bass clef. Therefore, when combining each clef into a grand staff, the treble clef would be placed on the staff above the bass clef, like this. Another way to think about it is that the treble clef contains notes which are above middle C, and the bass clef contains notes which are below middle C. Here is middle C. We'll go a little further into depth with this in later videos, but for now, it's just something to keep in mind. As previously mentioned, each space and each line of a staff is designated certain notes based upon the clef. Here's a quick and easy way to remember the letter names of the notes on a staff with a treble clef. For starters, the 4 spaces from bottom to top spell out the word face. F, A, C, E. With this in mind, you will be able to quickly identify any letter name on any given space of a staff with a treble clef. Let's put this into perspective. By simply knowing that F is the first letter in the word face, you can easily figure out that the first space on the very bottom of the staff is the note F. Likewise, by knowing that A is the second letter in the word face, you'll also see that the second space from the bottom is the note A, and so forth. As for the lines of a staff containing a treble clef, they each can be thought of as part of an acronym for the phrase, every good boy does fine. By just memorizing this short phrase, you'll be able to quickly identify any letter name on any given line of a staff containing the treble clef. Here's why. If you remember that does is the 4th word in every good boy does fine, you will easily see that the 4th line from the very bottom is the note D. Does D. Although slightly different than the treble clef, the same sort of technique can be used in order to remember the notes on a staff containing a bass clef as well. With the bass clef, the spaces, respectively from the bottom, are A, C, E, G. Now, remembering this isn't as easy as simply remembering the word face, as was the case with the spaces of a staff containing a treble clef. However, if ACEG is looked at as an acronym for all cows eat grass, it becomes much easier to memorize. For example, eat is the 3rd word in all cows eat grass. Knowing this allows you to immediately recognize that the 3rd space from the bottom is the note E. Eat, E. Finally, the lines of the bass clef from bottom to top, G, B, D, F, A, can be seen as an acronym for Good Boyfriends Don't Forget Anniversaries. Being that good is the first word in Good Boyfriends Don't Forget Anniversaries, G is then obviously the note found on the first line of the staff. Good G. There you have it. Quick and easy ways to remember the notes on a staff, either with a treble clef or a bass clef, getting you well on your way to reading and writing music. In the next video lesson, I will explain the basics of how to read and write rhythm. But before you move on, don't forget to check out 5minutemozart.com for free helpful practice sheets and more in-depth explanations of everything discussed in this video.